The Eastern Front was a brutal landscape of ice, snow, and endless conflict. In January 1943, temperatures plummeted to 40 degrees below zero, turning the battlefield into a frozen hell where survival itself became a daily battle. Sergeant Anton Martynov knew this landscape intimately. A young Soviet soldier in the Red Army, he had been part of a reconnaissance unit tracking German positions near Stalingrad. Their mission was simple but dangerous: gather intelligence on enemy movements during one of the war's most critical moments. The German retreat was messy and desperate. After months of brutal fighting, the Soviet counteroffensive had pushed the Nazi forces back, leaving behind scattered units and isolated soldiers. Martynov's team had been tracking a German reconnaissance group moving silently through snow-covered forests and abandoned villages. On the morning of January 22nd, everything changed. Their small unit of 6 men was ambushed by a German patrol. The firefight was quick and brutal. Automatic weapons tore through the frozen air, bullets splintering tree branches and cutting down soldiers on both sides. When the shooting stopped, Martynov realized he was alone. The snow was stained red, bodies of his fellow soldiers scattered around the small clearing. His team was gone. His radio was destroyed, and he was deep behind enemy lines with nothing but his standard-issue rifle, a few rounds of ammunition, and the clothes on his back. Most soldiers would have given up. The temperature was killing cold. German patrols would be searching the area. He had no way to communicate with his unit, no clear path back to Soviet lines. But Martynov wasn't like most soldiers. Growing up in a small village in Ukraine, he had learned survival skills from his grandfather: how to read animal tracks, how to de-shelter, how to create fire with minimal resources. Those childhood lessons would now mean the difference between life and death. His first priority was ding shelter. The forest offered some protection, but he needed something more substantial. Using a knife taken from a fallen comrade, he began cutting branches, creating a makeshift lean-to against a large oak tree. He covered the structure with snow, creating a natural camouflage that would hide him from potential German patrols. Food and water became his next challenge. The forest, even in winter, offered resources. He knew how to set simple snares for rabbits, how to identify edible bark and roots that could provide minimal nutrition. A small stream, partially frozen, offered water. He melted snow and ice, carefully avoiding areas that might show signs of recent human activity. Each day became a calculated risk. Repeat. The forest had become both his prison and his sanctuary. Then, on the 22nd day, something changed. A distant sound broke the forest's monotonous silence. Not German, something different. Dog tracks. Multiple sets. Wolf tracks mixed with human boot prints. Tracking dogs. Reconnaissance patrol. Martynov's muscles tensed. He knew these weren't random tracks. These were deliberate, organized movement. Soviet reconnaissance, most likely searching for survivors or gathering intelligence about German positions. He had to make a choice: signal and risk detection by Germans, or remain hidden and potentially miss his only chance of rescue. Years of training battled with pure survival instinct. His survival now had a potential endpoint. But survival remained his primary directive. The patrol's presence didn't guarantee immediate rescue. He would continue his careful routine. Food became increasingly challenging. The winter forest offered less and less. Bark and roots provided minimal sustenance. The small game he could trap grew scarcer. His body was consuming itself, converting muscle into energy. He supplemented his diet with desperate measures: lichens from tree bark, mosses, anything with minimal nutritional value. His body became a machine of pure efficiency, burning calories with ruthless precision. Military training merged with pure survival instinct. Every movement calculated, every resource evaluated, every potential threat analyzed. The forest itself seemed to be testing him. Temperatures dropped further. Soviet engines. Martynov's ears, trained by weeks of absolute sensory awareness, detected the subtle vibrations before the sound became truly audible. His body remained motionless, but his consciousness shifted into high alert. The snow-covered landscape began to transform. First, distant tree branches trembled. Then a faint mechanical rhythm emerged. the synchronized pulse of multiple tracked vehicles moving through dense forest terrain, T-34 tanks. At least 3, possibly 4. His mind calculated probabilities, a standard reconnaissance patrol, a full combat unit. The distinction could mean survival or capture. He waited. Patience had become his most re-ed skill. The tanks moved slowly, navigating the challenging winter landscape. Their tracks carved deep furrows through snow and frozen underbrush. Accompanying infantry walked alongside, providing ground support and scanning the dense forest edges. Martynov recognized the formation. Soviet Second Guards Tank Army, pushing westward, pushing back against German occupation. His tactical training merged with pure survival instinct. Every muscle remained controlled, every breath measured. The patrol moved closer, closer, within 500 meters. His camouflaged position, constructed with weeks of meticulous precision, remained undetected. Snow-covered branches and carefully arranged natural materials blended perfectly with the surrounding forest. A soldier near the lead tank suddenly stopped, raised his hand. Martynov's heart rate spiked. Detected. The soldier was pointing at something else. A track, an unusual snow formation. Not him. Minutes stretched. The patrol continued. Then Berigfru. Ice, familiar. Speaking Russian. Check that quadrant. Someone might be out here. A secondary patrol team began systematically sweeping the area. Martynov made a decision. One carefully calculated movement. One precisely timed signal. Medical evaluation confirmed his remarkable survival. Extreme weight loss. Multiple minor frostbite areas. But alive. Remarkably alive. The forest had tested him. He had survived. Weeks later, in a field hospital, Martynov would learn the full context of his survival. His unit, presumed entirely lost during a German breakthrough, had been systematically recovered. Individual soldiers like himself, Midas, isolated. Cut-off Midas represented living proof of Soviet military resilience. His story would become more than personal survival. It would symbolize something larger: resilience, endurance, the human capacity to adapt when all conventional paths to survival seem closed. The forest released him, but it would forever remain part of him, silent, watching, remembering. The Soviet medical staff studied his case with intense professional curiosity. Martynov represented more than a survivor. He embodied a living testament to human endurance under extraordinary circumstances. His débris lasted several days. Intelligence officers meticulously recorded every detail of his isolated experience. The German patrol movements, terrain observations, survival techniques. Each fragment of information carried potential strategic value. By spring, Martynov had recovered sufficiently to return to active duty. The forest had fundamentally transformed him. Where younger soldiers saw obstacles, he perceived opportunities. Where others heard silence, he detected subtle environmental signals. His time alone had sharpened perceptions beyond conventional military training. His unit reassigned him to reconnaissance, recognizing his exceptional situational awareness. The soldiers who had rescued him spoke of his condition with a mixture of professional respect and almost mythical admiration. A man who survived weeks alone in winter's most unforgiving landscape carried an unspoken authority. Years later, long after the war concluded, Martynov would occasionally return to those same forest regions, not as a soldier but as a quiet observer. Its pages were filled with sketches of trees, annotated with precise observations, terrain notes, survival techniques, memories of those cold weeks when survival seemed impossible. Elena understood this was his true legacy, not medals, not heroic stories, but the quiet knowledge of how humans endure. The notebook would be preserved, a testament to one man's journey through history's most brutal landscape, a silent chronicle of survival, written in pencil and memory, whispering truths about human resilience that no official record could fully capture. The forest continued, always watching, always remembering.